right here, we were wondering what the kind of weekly drop off would be for Avatar: The Way of Water. It's a very ambitious film for the Walt Disney Company. Definitely a lot of investment for sure. And well, Avatar: The Way of Water earns 63.4 million in the film's third weekend domestically, a 0% drop off from the second weekend. That's according to Discussing Film. Well, according to the numbers, it was actually better than that. It says right here, December 30th, 2022, percentage change from last week, plus 6%. So it actually gained. And you can see that graph right here. I mean, it is just remarkable. OG, you've said it a number of times. I have no idea what James Cameron did in order to achieve this astounding feat, what deal he did with the devil, but I think the guy has successfully done it again.
No, he did. But I wouldn't give too much credit to James Cameron. This is definitely the drunk 3PO effect right here. He is definitely our buddy drunk 3PO. He's a huge fan of this franchise. But no, in all seriousness, I think that this movie, look, you're right. I mean, this is a beast. Honestly, I haven't seen this since the last Avatar movie. Even Marvel movies don't do this. I mean, no. As successful as Marvel has been, billion-dollar franchise, Marvel movies don't do this. It's unheard of for a movie to gain in its what is this, like the third weekend or something now?
Yeah,
third weekend. Gaining in the third weekend is out of control. It never happens.
Never happens. And this is honestly what we were talking about, OG, when we were talking about the legs that this would actually have to have. I mean, you would have to have almost 0% drop off from week to week. And sure enough, that's exactly what we experienced on its third weekend here. And it is truly remarkable. If you look at this graph right here, what you usually see, especially with Marvel films, they usually be very front loaded. So at the start of that graph, it'll go, almost completely vertical, right? And it'll just climb that up, but it'll start to level out and flatten out as time goes on. And by like your third weekend, it is no longer vertical. It is almost horizontal. Whereas it is a straight diagonal line going across this graph, which tells you the legs it actually has. And I believe the lighter portion of this graph is its kind of estimate range and even exceeded that. So this is a truly remarkable feat for sure. Jalen, any thoughts?
I've always been just noticing this. Like, it's just so insane because, like, usually with sequels and franchises, the sequel never does as good as the first film. And what's so surprising is that this is the sequel, but it's also been like almost 10 years since the first one. So the fact that it's been such a large amount of time in between and it's a sequel, people are already not expecting it to be as good as the first one. It's producing insane amount of numbers. And props to James Cameron because he pretty much predicted this. He's very confident in his work, and he would have told you from the jump that I'm gonna be. I feel like he was very frustrated that because the Avatar film was so long ago that Marvel had came into play and Star Wars had came into play, and they kind of just took over. And then Fast and Furious, they never stopped making movies. So so they kind of took into play while in the absence of the Avatar films, and he kind of became frustrated because he probably thought that between Titanic and Avatar, which are both his production, he probably figured out that I'll never be dethroned. And when Marvel eventually did that, and Star Wars started gaining ground, and the other films started gaining ground to that top 5 of numbers, he became frustrated and was like, "Oh no, this doesn't feel right," And he, sure enough, just instead of just being like, "Oh, we have the sequel ready to go, and here you go, the sequel." No, I have 3 other films ready to go, and they're going to be just as good, if not better, than this one. It's like it is nonstop.
No, it's wild, and this bodes very well. For a lot of things. It bodes very well for a possible Pandora expansion over at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Oh, absolutely.
Almost a certainty at this point, especially with James Cameron admitting that he emailed Bob Iger in regards to his ideas for plussing the Flight of Passage and stuff like that. So you can guarantee something will come about in Pandora. So it bodes very well for the theme parks and theme park fans. I think it bodes very well for the theater industry because this is exactly what they needed. They've had a little bit of a soft few months since summer ended. So this is much welcome for them. And it's also very welcome to Disney. I mean, Disney is coming off of Lightyear and Strange World, which died a dog's death at the box office. And it's so funny to me too. People talking about Strange World lately. Not to digress a little bit.
Sure.
Oh, I see all these outlets talking about how Strange World is doing so great on Disney Plus. Yeah, I mean, because they don't have to pay for it. They pay $7 a month for Disney Plus. It's free. You just click on it. I mean, look, when something you're not paying for something, like, there's a lower threshold.
Yes.
Right. Like it just shows you that the people were not willing to pay for this movie and they're just waiting for it to basically be free at home. And that doesn't really bode well. Now, Encanto was a little different because Encanto might have been that way where they didn't want to pay for it. So they watched on D Plus. But the difference is that once people watched Encanto, they really, really loved the hell out of it and the music and everything.
Kept rewatching it.
Right.
It did a lot to prevent that churn that we talk about.
Yes, and it's to the point where it's like Encanto brought in a lot of genuine fans, and in Encanto, if you were to release an Encanto 2 in theaters, say next year, it would do enormous box office numbers. People love that movie. People are not walking away from Strange World going, "Wow, I wish I would have saw that in theaters." Not so much. Not so much.
And I have a question. So is this the first? I mean, is this Avatar film fall into lines of? Is this a Disney film, or did the production and all that happen before that merger?
So a lot of the production and a lot of the initial investment cost, the kind of what is it, the R&D and so forth, that did take place before Disney bought it, right? But I mean, Fox's debts now become Disney's debts, right? So Disney did de facto pay for it in the form of that purchase price, that $70 billion purchase price that they actually made to acquire Fox. So I mean, listen, I think there was a multi-movie deal that was actually signed with Fox and Cameron before this. I do believe that Disney, I believe they've actually implied that they will maintain that throughout, and that's why James Cameron is working on those sequels. I think that will continue, and even if it didn't, I think just based on this box office performance that we're actually seeing here with Avatar: The Way of Water, do you think they would be inclined to provide James Cameron with as many resources as he possibly needs to churn out as many of these as he possibly can?
Because I brought that up to say that if this is very much a Disney film, which I mean, for obvious reasons, the next few films will be very much a Disney film. Yeah. Disney has they don't care if he's bickering or they don't care about none of that, because for one particular reason, most of the top 10 movies in the box office are Disney produced films. If it's MCU, if it's Star Wars, if it's Avatar, it's Disney. So whoever's running that department is whoever's running the movie and entertainment department is sitting back and like, my job is done. Like they're probably making endless money because, I mean, Avatar is out now, and literally in February we have Ant-Man and Quantumania, and then for the rest of the year we have the Marvels, I think, and Disney Plus content. So it's like, movies and entertainment are winning right now as far as money making. So that's just crazy to think about.
In 2021 and 2022, the box office gross obviously wasn't as robust as maybe it was in 2019, right? That was just insane. And it's been a road to recovery, and while they have been successful, especially if you look at the kind of box office gross in general, I think it's like a plus $4 billion figure as compared to other studios, because so many of those films have been so expensive. It hasn't been as profitable, I think, as people have thought. This is genuinely extremely profitable right here. I mean, we're talking this is going to be anywhere between 1.6, 1.9, maybe even more than that. And this is definitely a needed win and a momentum that they can ride in that 2023 slate that you bring up, Jalen. I think, between Quantumania, between Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, who now everybody knows that was James Cameron's
James Gunn. Yeah.
James Gunn's last
Yeah.
production with Disney, right? So you might get people just kind of interested, just are curious to see what they actually do with that.
Yeah.
I do think you're in pretty good shape right here. It's kind of unfortunate that Star Wars isn't at a point where it can join in that, but Avatar does more to make up for it, I guess. This is